Howdy everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube, or welcome back if this is your second Walker Independence episode review. I don't know why I keep doing that accidentally. My throat's actually a little bit on the youth side already because I had karaoke the night before I recorded this, and also I apologize. I said this before, went to the Black Adam premiere, threw the entire schedule off whack. I apologize. Tomorrow with the rookie, we should be back to normal for the rest of the week. So hopefully there will be no more, delays. I apologize. But anyway, here we are, the second episode of Walker Independence. I was feeling a little bit mid about the show last week. I thought it was about all right. It wasn't like something that was like really going to captivate me every single week. This week, I felt a little bit more into the groove of the characters, all like the premiere, all the like setting up the layout of the story. All that setup's kind of over. Now we're just kind of focusing in on like, how do we continue this, story for, I want to say 13 more weeks. Well, actually, no, for 13 episodes, 12 more weeks, 11 now. But that was my whole like question, like how are they going to make this story intriguing enough, like as well as also progressing things, more and more so because, it's just in general the thing of like, similar to Walker, when we started that first season, we knew we had the mystery with Emily's death. Now with this show, they're kind of doing the similar thing where it's what happened to Liam. And also it's actually quite ironic because now I forgot that the husband's name was Liam. And so it's like ironic, like the horse's name is Cordell and the husband's name was Liam. Now I'm not sure if that meant anything. I mean, it could have been just like, oh, they have to have some sort of inspiration to why our Cordell and Liam in the main show are named after that, probably just like a legacy name, which does make sense. Now it's a little on the nose if you kind of get my drift a little bit. I mean, they could have found a better way, but I guess it's all right. At the end of the day, how they brought that up to the show. But for this week, it was a little better. I was a little bit more enjoying myself because again, you got into the rhythm of the characters. You're trying to develop these bonds, figure out more about them, and in terms of like the main mystery, why it's still more of the same of like, we know what's going on, is just the sense of how do we prove this sort of thing. And again, this is like a different time period where it's not like nowadays where like it's a definitive proof, like here's the visual evidence, here's the audio evidence. There's none of that back then, and in a small town it's really kind of hard to like predict all that. So it's a lot of big things, but they did introduce an element, a potential factor that could make or break in the future, but we'll see how about that goes. But overall, I think with this week's episode, it is definitely an improvement. Not a big improvement, just a slight improvement over the premiere. And hopefully if we keep up that escalation factor as we get more into like the character beats and more into like what the relationships overall in this prequel story you have to tell, I think I'll be more inclined to like, be a little bit more interested in it, because obviously, again, with all the other shows, it is, of the 5 I'm reviewing right now every week, it is my least anticipated. I'm still liking it. I'm still reviewing it. That's not my point there, but I'm still saying of the 5, it's the one that I have the least excitement. Like, okay, Walker's done. That's great. And then I do the review, and then okay, I got to do Independence. Again, I'm not trying to hate the show. It's just, for now, it's just mid, of that. So, also before I continue, there was a little bit of a thing I found out today when I was starting to watch my recorded episode / apparently I found out just recently. So if you're unaware, so for me, I still have a cable box TV service. I have Verizon Fios, which is the superior of all of them. The most expensive, but it's the most superior of it. I just discovered today that the CW, or i.e. the Nexus Star company, and Fios are having some sort of disagreement right now. So as of right now, I do not have access to the CW live. So I know there's been articles saying that they're hopeful they're going to get things resolved fairly quickly. Apparently it's more Fios charging them too much for the CW or Pix11 or whatever provider you're watching it from. It's mostly a Fios issue. It's not like a whole, world cable company thingy. It's just that. So in terms of next week, like, cause for the next 2 episode reviews in general, what we're going to do is the rookie. So it's not going to affect us anytime soon. But once we get the Stargirl and then Walker again on Wednesday and Thursday. So in the case of I'm not still able to watch it live because those episodes aren't posted till the next morning. There might be a little bit of a delay going forward on those reviews, which I apologize. It's out of my control. There is a chance they could fix it before Stargirl's next episode. I'm hopeful of it because I'm also watching a lot of other shows on the CW as well this season. So I'm hopeful they fix that over. Again, the benefit of the CW is you do have the CW app and CW.com to watch your content. Again, this is not a plug. This is not a sponsorship. I'm just saying that is a fact. But I will update everyone, on Twitter what's going on with that. So if anything, we might be delayed a day for all the shows, which it sucks. But however, there's nothing I can really do about it. It's just the logistics of TV broadcasting companies. Like every provider, every channel have their own different regulations and their own different wants. So hopefully they resolve this very soon so it doesn't become a factor, but I'm just giving you a heads up for next week's Walkers and next week's Stargirls. But anyway, to the review itself. Let's go through the Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of Walker Independence. We pick back up where the last episode left off after Abby's dramatic stare into the Wild West, into the town of Independence, declaring we will stop Sheriff Davison. We turn back around. We just go back into the rec site. It's a little bit clear as day. Like, yeah, this is definitely, obviously they had a traditional pilot filming. Now that we're starting the actual season, therefore there was a little bit of a changeover. Again, I meant in terms of like it just is a sudden like, a sudden drop into like, okay, now we're gonna keep going with these characters' story now that we know we're gonna tell more into this world. They're looking around trying to see if they just find any valuables that Abby may have left behind when she had to abandon the site earlier in the week. Hoyt makes a good point that probably by this point, any nearby scavengers probably already looted all the most expensive stuff. So they're all probably gone, but, Abby's still remaining hopeful that there could also be a clue that might implicate Davison in the thing. But again, it's been a whole week and some change since the murder occurred. So with that being said, there really isn't much, I'm pretty sure even Davison had time to come back to the site and, loot anything that was valuable to connect anything that he would like to use himself. So it's pretty much a dead ringer here. Caliban or Caleb, I forgot. I'm gonna call him Cal. It's gonna be easier for me. Cal and Hoyt easily get into arguments. They're just trying to figure out what is the other doing here, really. What's the point of being part of this team? And of course, obviously, look, I trust Cal with my life, and with you, I really have no choice. Like, you have a set of skills that I don't have, and also of the three of us, you're kind of like the more rowdy one of the group. So we all need each other to break this conspiracy, to bring Davison to justice. So we need to work together as a team, but of course, obviously, these two are just not liking each other from the get-go, which again is traditional conflict 101, but there really isn't nothing they can do. So with that all being done, they decide just to head back into town and just continue trying to figure out if there's anything more that they could receive. Davison, starting his day off walking around, he finds a cattle marked with another farmer's insignia. Of course, obviously, we know Davison is involved in some sort of cow stealing smuggling spree where he's just taking other farmers' cows to probably reduce their value down the road, and him seeing that kind of like gives him a little bit of like oh no, this isn't good, like we can't start the rumors now here. So he tells the local butcher to go kill the cow and to hide the evidence. The three head back into town and they're just trying to figure out their next moves. We get a little more scene with Kate, the leader of the dancers that we met last week, and her banter with, it's Mark Shepard's character, Hans. Again, I'm slowly getting better with the names as we go, whichever week, but again, I'm going to have some sort of issues here. Mostly Hans is a cheap man. He reminds me of Mr. Krabs, where he likes to be extravagant, he likes his stuff, but he doesn't want to spend that much money. He's basically pushing off the dancers' payment until an indefinite time period so that he can pay other vendors and keep more of the money. And, Kate and him are it's the simple banter of look, we're valuable. We know you got loaded. You really can't fire us, and we can't let go. And so I'm going to push you for the money. It's still a little dance they're playing here. I want to say eventually, I want to say their next lead, so I'm going to call them team, I don't know what to call them, I don't know, the Abby, Cal, and Hoyt, that team, ACH, how about that, ACH, so they're trying to figure out the next move, trying to, narrow down, how do we nail, it's specifically Davidson that was the one who killed, Liam. So they look at the tracks nearby, they find a specific horseshoe print, and Hoyt decides to go visit the local ironsmith to see if there's anything he can do enough, and Caliban's a bit shy to go into town. Seems like he's kind of not supposed to be there. So there's that. Hoyt attempts to interrogate the blacksmith. It doesn't go well for him. He gets no sort of information out of him. The deputy shows up, aware that hey, you kind of look like the bank robber that came by yesterday, and Hoyt kind of accidentally implicated himself. So he gets taken in for questioning. Louisa, the woman that Hoyt's been banging on the side, notices him getting arrested, and then she's like, assuming the worst, like he's up to this again. A nearby wife of someone in the town, I guess, the owner of the red dress that Hoyt stole last week, she slaps Luis because she's aware that, like, oh, you have my red dress, you stole it from me, so guess what, I want my dress back pronto. And Luis is obviously upset because this was like the one thing that she could really use to impress, so she can actually sing at the club, not the club, the saloon. Disappointed by that, Kai shows up and volunteers to make her a new dress from scratch for free, to replace the red dress that she was about to lose. I'm just gonna get that. It was kind of like a minor sub point. Again, it's more developing of the characters, more like interacting these characters into, like, Independence is such a small town. It's very unavoidable for all of them to not have some sort of interaction each and every week. Luis shows up for her dress fitting. Kai and her have a little bit of a nice talk about just, her and Hoyt, and then, like, Kai's kind of interested in Kate as well, and, but she doesn't really give him the time of day. Traditional love when you're into someone and they have no interest in you and you're trying your best. But, they're having a nice banter there. They're having a nice banter. Hoyt's taken to the sheriff's department, but it's not a full arrest. He's just being questioned. And Hoyt's just, like, basically saying, like, you know what, I'll talk, I'll spill, give me, like, a little something to drink. And, again, it's a nice band that, like, Hoyt's just playing around with everyone. Like, he's just a traditional, like, lone gunslinger, like, cocky. Like, he's gonna get out of this. He'll find a way out of this. He always finds a way out of it, unlike his future counterpart. Ooh, too soon? Or too early? However, he's also trying to use this opportunity to try and, like, slide in some, like, potential doubt about the new sheriff into the deputy, trying to, like, get him to, like, question the new sheriff more. It's not really working as effectively as he wants. But once the deputy steps away to go get a glass of water, he writes down a note, like, just basically giving him a clue of, like, hey, check out this nearby shallow grave and see if you can find anything that could be related to Daverson. He hides underneath some letters, which I'm like, okay, bad placement right there. He returns with the water. He declines it. The deputy just kicks him out, and he's on his merry way. Daverson shows back up into the office. He picks up his mail and he finds the letter, the note that Hoyt was supposed to write for the deputy, but that didn't really work out very well. The transfer of knowledge has not accepted well. Now Daverson knows, like, okay, the dead body's been found. The dead body's been buried. Now I got to go find it. I want to say, yeah, so I think the next big moment came from a little bit later. I know I'm probably missing a scene, or I went out of order here, but Davidson heads down to the fields. He finds Liam's dead body, brings it back for show, saying that, like, I found this dead body. And he basically says, like, this guy was supposed to be your next sheriff, but he was murdered. And then I was promoted because the judge needed me. So now I'm going to swear, I'm going to find the killer, we're going to bring him to justice, and we will get redemption for Liam. And of course, good acting by Catherine McNamara here, who's, like, really holding in her feelings of, like that's her husband, who was just buried not too long ago, dug back up, and now is being toyed around as, like, for propaganda for the new sheriff. And she's only as best she can, like, she's really holding it back in, and it's not really working so well, but she's doing her best to hold it in. She and Cal get mad at Hoyt for doing this to them, and she's like, hey, look, it was our best play. If we can get the deputy to already judge the new guy in town, it might be enough to, like, get some more attention on him, but it didn't really work out. It backfired on them, and now they're kind of without an ace in the hole right now. So the only thing to really do by this point is to try and, like, get in a little deeper, I guess. I guess at this point, also we find out that Kate actually has a second job, not just as the leader of the dancers, but also I think she's an informant or a special agent or something along that. She's working with an government official who's just making sure that the town's railroad, like, there's the conspiracy, like, obviously the rumors are true, but they're trying to, like, get some actual proof there. So Kate's down there to kind of, like, mingle with the locals, try to figure out what's going on. She gets weekly check-ins, and again, this is what I was saying before, like, she could be the key to taking down Davidson down the road. Like, her official connection with the government might be enough to, like, implicate Davidson when they do have the evidence, but that could easily backfire if anything else goes wrong. I want to say that their next move is, oh yeah, I forgot. So I forgot there was a pretty big scene where when they were back in the burned wagon, they found a little drawing that Liam made for Abby that was going to indicate their future home together when he was sheriff. And they do find the house, which is apparently just the sheriff's quarters. That's just the private property that the sheriff would just have, and I honestly felt like, okay, this is going to be really bad for Abby, because she's going to move into this house, reminded of the life that she was supposed to have with her husband. But no, it's apparently Daverson's house now. He moved in there, just sprucing the place up for himself. And again, it really does suck. It really does suck that this guy took away her life, and now he's living her life, the life that she should be getting. And again, it's awful. This is why I said before, like, I never want to live in that time period, because for me, it's like, there's literally no support system. Like, I said this last week, she literally left her entire life behind in Boston. There's no one near her that she can trust, that she can go to for help right now. It's not like she can go over, like, or have a phone call, like, try to get a bus to get her to the next place. No, there's nothing. She has no resources whatsoever. She's stuck there. And the fact that slowly but surely, this guy is just taking what her life was supposed to be, and her trying not to alert him about the fact that she knows he killed her husband. Again, it's just such great acting from Catherine McNamara, because she's like really playing that, like, she's trying her best to hold it in, and it's becoming too much slowly as like every major event progresses. Now back to like where I was before. Her current plan is just like, we got to sneak in. Like, so I'm gonna go and have dinner with him, see if I can find out anything indirectly from him. And for some, oh no, yeah, we didn't get to that plan of the park yet, because Caliban did talk to the deputy, trying to give more doubts into his head about the new sheriff. It does kind of work as the deputy begins to trail the sheriff a bit. Davidson turns out to be talking to local farmers, which I'm assuming they have a connection with. I don't know if they're part of like the Davidson clan or the clan, because they said like, oh, there's the wealthy side up in the east, and then there's the farmer side in the west. I'm not sure if they're all Davidsons, or is it just like an association factor. But regardless of that, it seems like they were about to do some shady business. However, again, I'm sorry to the deputy. He is the worst tactical surveillance in the world, because like everyone knew he was there. It wasn't even obvious. Davidson attempts to use this opportunity to kill them all, just taking one person, trying to like, put the blame on him and just, get this entire situation behind him. So he kills them all. He performs the arrest on the one individual, and that was enough for him to like kind of have his suspicions be lifted, let's say. He returns to showcase this guy. Of course, obviously, Abby knows, like, this isn't the guy that killed my husband, but, for the rest of the town, they don't really know that. So now they really screwed the pooch, because as soon as they kind of officially sentence this guy, that's it. For everyone else, the case is over. So I'm like, they got to figure out, how do we keep this going a little bit longer before we can, lose the opportunity right now. So that's why I said Abby takes up the sheriff's offer for dinner, while Liam and Cal has to somehow get this guy out of prison, or try to get some sort of information out of him that, the others might not be aware of. So I believe, yeah, Abby cuts over to, oh no, we're not there yet. I think we just cut to that night, I believe. I think we got everything, all the pieces set in stone for that night, where we got some more Hans and Kate debacle about the dresses. Kate also being like a very true mother to her dancers. She got the payment from the, I guess, the agent, and she cashed that in, and is giving everyone the money instead of herself, even though that she earned that money directly. At the moment, like, she just has to keep everyone paid and fed and happy to do their jobs. So her and Haynes continue their bickering. She manages to convince Haynes to give them all the money tomorrow. Abby sides in over to try and get a dress from her, as well as Louise shows up with her, like, honestly very gorgeous dress for her return back to the stage. I want to say, yeah, so after that, Abby and Hoyt have a little bit of a conversation about, like, just, false personas, and, like, trying to create the illusion of, like, being another person when in reality you're just lying to yourself. Hoyt said he's been doing this for such a long time. He spots Louisa in the dress, indicating that she's going to go back out there and sing again. He said, no, you shouldn't do this now. She gets mad at him over the dress stealing, and the money that he apparently gave her in the flowers was apparently robbed from the bank. So she just denies everything. It just seems like she's just not with him anymore. It seemed like. Abby heads off to dinner with the sheriff. It's honestly, it's a pretty nice feast. It's a pretty nice dinner meal. Abby's trying to get him to, like, try not to give him the hook, the hanging right away, try to, like, give him like a proper, court date and everything. Davidson's again trying to, like, wrap this up pretty quickly, trying to, like, finish this up as fast as he can, to get this all under the rug. But Abby's still persisting, of course, but she's still dancing the fine line of like making sure that she doesn't get caught in a lie, as well as she's also trying not to get herself blown over, already, and just indicating herself in the process. Davidson, seeming like he was about to kill Abby, pulls out the pocket watch for Liam, and again another like Abby's just holding this all in. Like, these are all of her husband's stuff that should be in her possession right now that this guy just has. It's like, it hurts. It really fucking hurts. And like, obviously, the other guy didn't have it. He has them all, but he's just like playing it like around of like, oh, it's mine. Like, I got it from him. So I'm like, it fucking sucks. Apparently Liam and Callum's plan was to apparently start a bar fight, which again, I'm pretty sure some of their aggressions came through in the fighting, which is enough to get Hoyt sent to prison, into the drunk cell, where he uses that opportunity to try and talk to the guy that Davidson's trying to accuse, but it's not really working. But if anything, trying to keep Hope alive, he does orchestrate an escape for him, leaving his horse behind to kind of like allow him to escape. But however, because the gunshots that happen, everyone's just on alert, and by the time the guy gets out of the jail cell and on the horse, the deputy shoots him dead, and so that entire avenue's dead, which means like, yeah, that's kind of over for them. They're kind of fucked. Like, that was about it. That was all their chances. So the last thing is that, so the three of them meet up again, like, even though that they all failed to like really accomplish what they need to do, they still need to keep Hope alive. They're like, eventually they will get what they need to like really nail down Davidson home at some point, but right now they're going to keep figuring out what the next step is. Hoyt offers to let her stay at his place for a while, but she's like, you know what, don't worry, I got a place lined up. She takes up Kate's offer and she moves into the hotel, and getting her own private space, getting her own some clothes, some change of clothes, and anything. And it seemed like she was just going to be a job with the dancers, like just as a coordinator, which I don't know how much that pays, but like, you know what, at this point she'll take anything she can get. The moment Abby's left alone with her thoughts, again, this is like the first private moment she's had, I think, since before her husband died. Like, if you really think about it, like, she witnessed her husband die. She literally collapsed in the middle of the desert with an injury. She was knocked off conscious in a reserve site in a native site for a while. She immediately came to town and like she hasn't had a proper sleep yet. It's been a very long couple nights for her. Like, she has had no sleep at all during this entire debacle. And this is the first time she actually can like rest a bit, actually like, get her energy out. And this is like the first private moment, and she just breaks down. She just cries. This is the first time she's able to like release those emotions without anyone watching. And it hurts. Like, it just seems like she just misses her old life. Like, everything was taken away from her, and she knows what she's got to fight for now. She heads downstairs back to the saloon to play on the piano to get her mind off things. However, the sheriff was there watching her, but he was only there to really like just inform her that I listened to what you had to say about, giving him a fair date in court. I was going to write a telegram to the judge to schedule something for him, but of course, obviously he's dead. So everyone's just going to consider the case is closed. However, Davidson said, like, I'm very impressed with your knowledge of the law. I think we can make a good team if you work with me at the sheriff's office. He gives her back her law book, which again was originally hers, but he took it away when he killed the husband. So now, again, Abby having a piece of herself again, she's just reminded of how much she needs to take on Davidson. Even that means going inside his lines and trying to figure out how do we defeat him from within. But that was it for this week's episode of Walker Independence, and this hat is so freaking hard on me. So for me, again, I thought this was better than last week's episode. I think this definitely like was vibing more into the characters and like how their banter is going to be, how their relationships are going to be, what type of moves they're going to make as a team to try and take down Davidson. We're getting a little bit more easier backstory to digest now because like all the premiere stuff, all the premise setup is now completely over. There's still some holes of like the Davidson's logic. How does the how do they take him down is another big question. Like, that's the only thing I'm intrigued about. How do you solve and prove that case in the 1880s? Like, I'm just very curious to see how they're going to perform that. To be honest with you, seeing Hoyt, and I'm also surprised. Like, I was under the assumption that like they were immediately going to get to some sort of like Hoyt and Abby spark at the beginning. It seemed like they're doing that for Abby and Caliban, and again, they never properly stated I mean, it's a prequel of a long time ago, so it's like you got liberties there to like really play around with what the formula is really going to be with that. So I'm actually pretty curious. But of course, obviously, I'm pretty sure they're not going to focus on like the romance stuff anytime soon because, again, she just had a death. I'm just saying that in terms of the knowledge of like they usually try and give that setup of like, oh, she and him are going to hook up or they're going to like, we'll see how that all go. We'll see. It's only still the first season, but we still have many, many, many more to go, hopefully. Last thing I'll say is that all the characters, I love them so far in terms of like their personality, in terms of their banter. It's just like right now we're just at that slow pace right now that it's really kind of difficult to like really sink into it. But I really think all the actors and all the actresses are really getting into their roles pretty well, and like they're developing these shades and like trying to figure out what side are they really going to stand for. Like it's really intriguing. I think Luis got the short end of the stick this episode, I believe, but then again she didn't have that much to do after last week, so that was fine. But again, I like balance of all the characters, and it just seems like she got the least of it. Same with Kai, but yeah, hopefully it's all paying off. All the small moments, they will pay off. I think lastly, but surely, I think the only last thing I need to talk about here is yeah, why? I'm still very good. Like, they named the horse Cordell and they named the husband Liam. Like, again, like, I'm pretty sure it's going to be some sort of, like, big callback or big payoff in, like, the finale of the series, whenever that is. I'm pretty sure, but I'm just like, that's a little too on the nose. And normally you kind of want to save that for, like, down the road. Like, there usually is a more symbolic reason. I get what they're trying to do, but I'm like, okay, but it is what it is on that point. But for me, overall, I'm going to give this episode 1 3/4 thumbs up. Again, improvement from last week definitely is not sinking me in 100%, but we are getting to that traction point. Hopefully next week we'll get to more of like a more good pace with the show. But let me know in the comments below, what did you think of this week's episode of Walker Independence? Let's have that conversation down below. Let's have a chat about it. But I believe that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the hopeful first season of Walker Independence. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's the Two, besides our Walker Independence reviews, we're currently doing rookie episode reviews each and every week after brand new episodes on Sunday nights on ABC. We're currently doing Rookie Feds episode reviews each and every week after brand new episodes on Tuesday nights on ABC. We're also doing DC Stargirl episode reviews each and every week after brand new episodes on the CW each and every Wednesday nights. We're also doing every Walker episode reviewed after brand new episodes on Thursday nights on the CW. But if you don't care about Walker Independence, you're in luck. We'll be back next week with another brand new episode review again. We're going to see how I'm going to watch carefully the CW Next Star Fio situation. So if there is going to be a delay with the episode reviews for a while, I'll let you know on Twitter. So please go follow us on social media to be up to date on that. But we will be back with a new episode review next week, no matter what. So don't worry about that. But again, this has been What's the Two from ActionX. Please subscribe to us on youtube.com/ActionX videos. Ring that bell for notification when our next episode review is live. Please also like, favorite, share this review if you want to. And please also ring the bell. But until we see each other again, for all you members of the Town of Independence, I kind of shoehorned that in. I'll find out a better thing next week. But until we see each other again next week, stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out. Oh my God.